The last and final session is all about engagement in sport events, citizen actions, cultural bridges, and fan mobilization. This session explores the city's leverage this event to drive community initiative and enhance fan activism towards social changes, inclusiveness, and innovation. And to moderate this session, I will ask Emeline Donguet, Education Manager at the Organizing Committee of Paris 2024, to join me on the scene in a few seconds. Emeline Donguet was a professional basketball player, also a medalist in the 2012 Olympic Games in London in basketball. She is also working with the French television as a consultant, and she has been one of the first ambassadors to the Paris 2024 Bid Committee. Always engaged for gender equality, inclusion, health, and education, particularly through the prism of sport. She's thrilled to have built and to develop Generation 2024 together with Marie Barsac, that you heard yesterday as a speaker. And this is the game education program since April 2018. So give a big applause to Emeline Donguet, please.
Thanks a lot, Maryse. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to be here with you this morning to close this last session. And I want to introduce the different speaker of this morning. So please welcome to Erin Birmingham. She was previously, she spent 14 years as a senior civilian with the US Department of Defense. Most recently, she served as the Mayor's Director of Olympic and Paralympic Development, head of the 2028 Games, and currently as a Conrad Hilton Foundation Fellow for the Sustainable Development Goals, and as a visiting senior fellow on city and state diplomacy with the Truman Center for National Policy. And now she serves as the Deputy Mayor of International Affairs in the office of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, focused on bringing global opportunities to Angelenos and connecting LA to economic and cultural partners around the world. So please welcome Erin. She's going to have a lot to share with us. I want to introduce a second speaker. It's Amadou Falba. He has been the director of Festa 2H, the National Hip Hop and Urban Culture Festival, for 15 years. In 2017, he was elevated to the rank of Knight of Arts and Letters of the French Republic. Since March 2014, Amadou has been in charge of urban culture under the Mayor of Dakar, as well as MCU manager. It's the Dakar House of Urban Culture. In 2016, he oversaw the construction of Dakar's first public skate park, who was inaugurated in October 2023, and we will talk about that later. He also has been the Dakar Enjeux Festival project manager since 2022, which has just finished months ago, a week ago, as a prelude of Dakar 2026. So please welcome Amadou. And finally, welcome to Akiko Nagano. As a civil servant of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, Akiko works for the promotion of sports. She was part of the Tokyo 2020 Bid project, and in 2014, she seconded to the organizing committee, where she served as the head of planning and coordination, and there was a lot of coordination with Tokyo 2020 throughout the 7.5-year journey. After her return to TMG in 2021, she was tasked with the TMG Sports Vision Development and is currently in charge of international relations. So please welcome to Akiko. So, Erin, the floor is yours to talk about Play LA, to talk about the engagement of the city of Los Angeles. The games are arriving quickly, and you already start the legacy of the games right now for the city, for the youth. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to be with you. I want to thank everybody involved with this great summit. I especially want to thank the team, Melanie and Anne-Sophie and everyone for pulling us all together. So if we could go to the next slide. Cue up next slide. So as Emily mentioned, I have spent some time thinking about city and state diplomacy, and so I think as the Deputy Mayor of International Affairs, and to be clear, this is a kind of new concept for American cities. I'm actually the only Deputy Mayor of International Affairs currently in the United States. So we don't have that typically built into our municipal structure in the same way that is common throughout the rest of the world. And so it's been kind of a part of my journey to help not only promote that, but also engage actively in international affairs as part of the work that we do. So my portfolio as Deputy Mayor has kind of three key parts: our international relations, everything the mayor does, engaging with our consular corps of 94 foreign missions based in Los Angeles, also focusing on international trade and investment and development, and then international events. And I spent the last 6 years before taking on this role as the Director of Olympic and Paralympic Development, getting ready for our kind of early preparations with that 11-year lead time that we had after the dual award to Paris and Los Angeles. So I thought it would be helpful first to kind of take a step back and see when cities are thinking about why they engage in major international events, how we define some of those key benefits. So you can see here, I mean, it's really about both promoting the city, the reputation of the city, but creating those pathways for improved international relations, reputation, and engagement with the world. But also beginning to convert some of the visitors that will come, the businesses that want to take shape, into a permanent presence in our city, creating additional opportunities and jobs, and also strengthening our ties globally, right? Building those bridges between cities and local governments around the world. So if we go to the next slide, one thing I would highlight is a project that we started that really does take its genesis from some of the work that London did in the run-up to 2012. So for folks who are familiar with London and Partners, which started as Think London, Study London, Visit London, right? London and Partners has a child, I guess, in the form of what we call Global LA. And you can visit global.la to learn more. Global LA is a public-private partnership in Los Angeles that seeks to tell LA's story on the world, really help engage folks globally in the opportunities that exist for business and business development throughout the LA region. And so we've had a number of successful companies that have decided to base in Los Angeles as a result of this outreach. And so Global LA will be a part of us continuing to tell our story in the road to 24 and then on our road to 28. Next slide. So I think what's worth mentioning is we've talked, and in the last panel I would highlight, they spoke a little bit about the host city agreements, host city contracts. And we have both a host city contract that the city of Los Angeles signed with the IOC to bring the 28 games to Los Angeles. But we also have a games agreement, which is a commitment, a contract between our organizing committee and LA City. And in that games agreement, we spell out some specific expectations around legacy and impact. And so I was very inspired to hear Jamie talk about how cities can kind of enforce their vision or try to work closely with the organizing committees of the world to deliver on some of those key promises. And for us, we've defined that in the games agreement really in these eight categories that I lay out. So I'll talk a little bit more about the youth sports program next, which is called Play LA, and is really our key signature legacy commitment. But we also are working with the organizing committee really closely to define the sustainability vision as one that aligns to our Green New Deal, which is a commitment not only to get LA in a completely net zero grid by 2035, but also zero waste, zero our emissions from the built environment, and a number of other kind of key sustainability commitments to which the organizing committee will also align. We've also made some real commitments around community business and procurement, trying to bring small and local businesses into the $6.88 billion that are expected to flow through LA as we host the games. And then the mobility and accessibility commitments that'll go with improving transportation, getting folks to understand the mode shift to public transit, trying to stress parking-free games, if not a totally car-free games. We're also working closely to build pathways for local hire and workforce development. understanding how our community colleges and the community college system can help shape opportunities for young people for certification and training. They can then come and enter employment through games or games-related opportunities, and then come back and work either in the city or in some of the partner companies that'll be a part of the games portfolio. We're focused on human rights as well, which is a key commitment that we see as a through line both from our hosting of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, as well as the work that we'll do ahead of the 2028 Games. And there's actually key language in our games agreement that speaks to something that we in Los Angeles have been dealing with for many decades, but are particularly focused on at present, which is making sure that we can take a human and trauma-informed approach to moving folks off of the street and into secure and safe housing. And so working with our unhoused community and making sure that they have the ability to transition off the street safely and securely is something that's a key part of the human rights work that we will be doing and developing in partnership with the security partners and others that will be engaged in delivering the games. Arts and culture is another big key component of our legacy planning. And so I would say, inevitably, when I tell people that I work on the games for 28, everybody who's in LA from 84, both first has very positive memories of the 84 experience, but they inevitably say two things. They say, oh, there was no traffic. And then second, they say, oh, and the arts festival was amazing. And so we're very keen to try to replicate that success with an arts and culture engagement strategy that brings and builds real capacity throughout our neighborhood arts organizations and helps marry them to some of the major arts institutions in both visual performing and other art forms, including food, throughout Los Angeles. And last but not least is community engagement, really focusing on how we can bring the community into this process of delivering this major event and welcoming the world through volunteer programs, obviously all of the aforementioned programs that we're working to develop now with the organizing committee, and really ensure that they feel the benefits of this major event. Next slide. So I'm just going to talk really quickly about Play LA. So we can go to the next slide from here. Play LA is, for those of you who are not familiar, a $160 million commitment that our organizing committee, LA 28, with support from the IOC, has made to the city of Los Angeles to invest in subsidizing the participation fees for youth sports for kids in sports and fitness programs throughout our Department of Recreation and Parks. Our Department of Recreation and Parks in the city of LA is more than 123 rec centers, more than 450 parks. And so we have the ability to deliver low or no cost programming to all kids throughout the city on the basis of this investment. In particular, what it's also enabled us to do is to build new capacity in the rec and park system. And in particular, I'll talk about adaptive sports. So the system we had some adaptive playgrounds and those types of opportunities for children with impairment, but we didn't have specific programming in place or really the trained coaches and professional staff to deliver some of those clinics. And so Play LA, with our commitment to adaptive sport, as LA will host the Paralympics for the first time, despite hosting the Olympic Games for the third time. This commitment to adaptive sport also brings in new sports that weren't previously a part of the system's offerings. And so that's another key area where Play LA has enabled the city to add additional sports that are part of the Olympic and Paralympic program that had not previously been a part of our sports offering. So if we can go to the next slide. This talks a little bit about the mission of the Play LA adaptive component. Next slide. And you can see where we can go through these next couple of slides. These are some of the specific adaptive sports that we're able to offer now. And I do have a great video showing some adaptive para-surfing programs that we'll share with the audience, I think, in the next newsletter. Next slide. So you can see the para-surf there, which is really cool. And next slide. And next. So this is a part of how we do this, and just overall looking at the numbers for Play LA, from 2018-2019 was really the first year we were able to start offering subsidized participation in the system. We had around 150,000 youth enrollments in the system as a whole. And ramping back up after the pandemic, we're projecting in 24-25 that we'll have more than 212. So we're seeing a ton of kids access sport for the first time across a host of different offerings that weren't previously available, thanks to this major commitment to youth sport by the organizing committee and the IOC. Can you go to the next slide? So this is some of what we're looking to continue to build as we move forward. And that's the video that you guys will get via a link later. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit more about the work that we're doing for Play LA. And I'm happy to answer any questions as we move on. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Erin. I'm sure we're going to have some questions. But before that, I want to make the link with Amadou. We see how with the games, with the 84 games of Los Angeles, you get a base to build your program, how the population want to engage in sports, how your program is a benefit for the youth. And so in Senegal, in Dakar, I think we can say that it's a pretty huge youth population, and there is a lot to do. So you will explain us how the city engage and how through the festival you can help to monitor new youth and new young sports for the citizen.
Thank you.
Your best.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amadou Falba, and I'm from Senegal. I'm advisor for the mayor since 2014. I'm more focused on urban art and now on urban sport. So today I will present two different initiatives, one running by the City Hall of Dakar, and the second is running by the Youth Olympic Games National Committee. First of all, I want to start with this initiative, call it Place d'équité urbaine, is to mean the place of the urban culture in Senegal. It's a new sport and culture infrastructure built by the City Hall of Dakar, and it's very interesting because this project started in 2016, but due to some political matters and the COVID, now we just came to realize to opening this space in I think 2 months ago in October. And if you see at the beginning, in 2016, we have some kind of discussion with the City Hall of Dakar just to see how they can cooperate with the youth, how we can engage together to build very good infrastructure, culturally and sport for the youth in Dakar. And we got one project called the Maison d'équité urbaine at the beginning, but it was just for the musician, for art, for culture. We have a studio recordings, rehearsal room, stage, and some restaurant, but there was no sport. And when we have another conversation with the mayor, we decide to leave the Maison d'équité urbaine, and now we go to the Place d'équité urbaine because we have a main space and we can include urban sport and urban art. You need to know in Senegal, urban culture means urban art and urban sport. That's the reason why we have the Place d'équité urbaine. And I will show you some pictures. Okay. Yes. So now you see the skate park is built in the very poor area called the Grand Yoff. It's the district in Dakar, but the population, they don't have access to the sport, the infrastructure of sport or art. So we decided to build this skate park in this area to engage the people, to engage the local community, to see how we can challenge their daily life. Okay, and why it doesn't work? Next pictures. You see, is now we have for us it's more than a space. It's built in 2,500 square meters. You can do concert, skating, breaking, chilling with the families at the same time in one place. That was the idea behind. I will show you more pictures to just see how they built. And we respect the environment and ecological aspect also because we have a lot of trees inside. We already keep the trees as you see here. I think we have some matters about the pictures, or it's just the equipment. Okay, it's fine. It's media? Okay, fine. Thank you. And you see the 3D, we are in the highways. And the other side, we have the neighborhood, and in the middle, we have this public infrastructure. You see the ball for the skaters, you see the wind for the people who come and see, you see the trees. For us, environment is very important to keep it around. And we have the offices, the restaurant, and the other side, we have the space for venue or concert. Yes, you see the very nice design. And now we try to multiply this and to create another modulable skate park, because a lot of people, they cannot come here, because Dakar is a small city geographically, but it's very dense. We have 3.5 million people living there. So we want to make another modulable infrastructure that we can go to the jail to see million people living in jail and embrace them to the skating or breaking, or in the school, or in the street also in the different districts, because Dakar we have 19 districts, not only one. So maybe I can go to my next presentation to introduce the second project called the Dakar Enjeux Festivals, and hosted by the Youth Olympic Bay National Committee. And as you know, this festival in the festival was planned in 2022, but to the COVID, unfortunately, we postponed it until 2026. And the Senegalese government and the IOC, they decide to use the 4 years between the two dates, what we can do for the youth. And they plan 4 different programs. One is the Kids Olympics, Fitness 52, and the third one is Olympic Certificate, and the last one is the Festival Dakar Enjeux. And it's the prelude to the Youth Olympic Games 2026. It will be organized last year, 2022, this year, 2023, and we have 2 years again, 2024 and 2025. And 2022 was just an edition of test, because we never do it. It was just how to cooperate between sport and art was not very easy for us. And this year we decided to open the doors to the Senegalese audiences. And next year we're going to open the doors for Africa. And the last year we're going to open the door to the world. And after 2026, we're going to host the event and welcome everyone. Yes. As you see, I think we can go directly to the video. Maybe I can some add comment, as just we have just 10 minutes. It's very short. Maybe it's better, because all of that I cannot do it on the comment. As I explained it on the first edition, it was just more than culture than sport, and for us it's very problematic. And the next edition, we try to make a balance between sport and art. And we did some activities like graffiti session to honor some Olympics personalities in Senegal and around the world, a night of poetry with the flame, the Olympic flame, rally with more than 100 bikes in the distance, like 37 kilometers. And we did 3 big concerts in the 3 different cities, like Diamniadio, Saly, and Dakar, the capital of Senegal. And a lot of sport initiation for the kids around the corners. As I said at my introduction, it was a test edition, and we mobilized more than 30,000 people across the concert and the sport initiation. As you see, we are in Saly here with the delegation of the ICO and the fitness here at the beginning of the events. And the 3 different cities, the luck that we have is totally different. If you come to Dakar, you have all the equipment that you need, but if you go to Saly or Diamniadio, it's very hard to have equipment, so you need to bring all the equipment from Dakar to Saly and to Diamniadio. And we are lucky too, because one of the events take in the beach, and we can do a lot of natation and show young people how to manage the swimming aspect like a pool. And during the second edition, which took place some week ago with the opening ceremony, 4 concerts, sport or competition with the kid in the school, and we had a lot of interest even this year, because we try to see how we can come in 2026 using the youth platform. And I want to just, before I end this video, talk about the legacy, how we see it on the Dakar 2026. In this video, at the beginning, you see a lot of young people are involved with, because the idea was in this program is Dakar Enjeux is made by youth for youth. And as you see, all the people working here, the tech sound technician, the light technician, the videographer, the photographer, all of them, they are youth. And the artists also, they are youth, because sometimes we don't like in 2026, Senegal is ready to welcome the events, but it's the international expertise who are going to come and organize the events. For us, this means legacy. We need to start it before, during, and after. And now we're keeping to have the 100 young people working with me, because I'm on charge of this festival. And every day I keep the same group, so they can learn a lot, they can practice, and maybe in 4 years they can be good. And after the Youth Olympic Game, they can get job or internship or do freelance or something like that. So we have a contract with a vocational and training school, called it Senegal Talent Campus. And with Senegal Talent Campus, we do lot of workshop during the Dakar Enjeu Festival. And now we are preparing the 3rd edition. It's going to be the same date, October, November next year. And the plan is, we already did the test edition, and we already welcomed Senegalese audience. So now we are talking about Africa, because it's the first Olympic events on the continent. So next year we're going to welcome Africa, and the last edition in 2025, we want to welcome the world to see how we can combine all efforts to engage the youth during the Youth Olympic Games. So that's my last word, and I want to thank my colleague from the City Hall of Dakar, Madam Mr. Ramatoulaye Sagna and Mr. Jibril Faye. Thank you guys having me here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amadou. We are going from a continent to another, and we're going to welcome Akiko, talking about legacy, talking about vision. I think that she has a lot to share, going through the Tokyo 2020 Games, working for the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and having a real vision to host some other really major sports events. So, thank you, Akiko.
Good morning, everybody. Bonjour. I'm Nagano Akiko from the city of Tokyo, and I worked for the Games during the past 10 years. And I never thought that 10 years ago I would make a presentation in such a prestigious venue. So I would thank all for, I would like to thank for all worked so hard to prepare for this session. Thank you very much. So, okay. So I'll first touch upon the Tokyo Sports Legacy vision as introduced, and then our initiatives towards 2025. I'll tell you why 2025 later, and our efforts of having more international sporting events in our city. And through the Tokyo 2020 Games, we strongly recognize the power of sports that bring people together and transform the society. And the percentage of Tokyo citizens to participate in sports increased 40% 15 years ago to almost 70% after the Games. We are working to expand the sports opportunities to all parts of Tokyo. Central to our efforts is to transform people's interest in sports into their actual playing, watching, and supporting the sports. So, our aim is to turn Tokyo into a city where sports is part of your life. For this, it is important sports is accessible to all, from children to mothers and fathers and elderly. Therefore, we take all the opportunities and organize sports initiation programs around the city, including urban sports or water sports at our sporting facilities used for the Games. And the citizens of Tokyo even play la pétanque, the traditional French sports in Tokyo. And we also use a digital transformation technology to promote new way of enjoying sports. Okay. And Japan and the world are inspired by the Paralympians demonstrating the unlimited possibilities of sports, and our awareness of inclusive society was greatly enhanced through the Games. Here, No Limits Challenge is a Paralympic Sports Experience Program. We organized this to generate the momentum towards the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. And after the Games, we continue to develop team beyond the project. Together with the citizens of Tokyo, we are communicating the charms of parasports that everybody can enjoy together, and through watching and playing the sports and interacting with Paralympians. So yesterday in his presentation, IPC President Mr. Andrew Parsons kindly mentioned the enhanced accessibility of Tokyo through the games. And indeed, accessibility has been greatly enhanced through the games. For example, in the sports facilities, we installed wheelchair user seating and easy access amenity seating in different positions of the venue so that people can enjoy watching sports from different angles. And we renewed the city's accommodation regulations and defined the standards for all guest rooms, including the width of the door. We worked on the pavements too, and we removed gaps and gradients and installed braille blocks to help people with visual impairment freely walk around the city. And 97% of the stations in Tokyo today have barrier-free routes that connect a station entrance to the train platforms without steps. And in addition to the improvement of infrastructure, we are also creating the movement, barrier-free mindset, by promoting the mutual understanding and respect and knowing each other. Sorry, I'm just struggling with this one. Okay. Okay, so here I'd like to quote a Japanese Paralympian she said after the games. So I see that Tokyo is now truly friendly to all, not only for people with disabilities, but for all, including the elderly and the parents with kids. Indeed, a larger number of people with or without disabilities are willing to try new endeavors in their life, inspired by the games. So building on these Tokyo 2020 legacies, we are taking the next steps towards 2025. So international sporting events will connect people and create a bond between them through their collaboration. And people are inspired by the excellent performance of athletes, and dreams and hopes are generated. In 2025, two major sporting events will be held in Tokyo. One is the World Athletics Championships, which has the participation of elite athletes. And Tokyo has set out a vision of Tokyo Dream, Tokyo Model, and the Tokyo Brand. And another is the Deaflympics. That's the sports competitions for deaf athletes. And this was actually held here in Paris in 1924. And it will see the 100 years in Tokyo. And early this year, we established the Vision 2025 to show what city we'd like to create through these two major events. The goal is to realize an inclusive society where people can shine, and will value the diverse perspectives and collaboration, and support the development of children. And I'd like to introduce two symbolic initiatives in this regard. The first is universal communication. That is a smooth communication regardless of ages, disabilities, or languages. Many people gather together at the occasions of the major sporting events, and we see that the World Athletic Championships and the Olympics are good opportunities to advance digital technologies for this universal communication. For example, there is a technology that converts speech into text in multiple languages and shows them on the display on the spot immediately. So while reading the text on the display, we are still keeping the face-to-face communication through the transparent screen or display. So we'll promote such technologies to be commonly used towards the 2025 and beyond in society. Another is the emblem for the Deaflympics. It was designed by a student at Japan's only national university for people with hearing and visual impairment. For the first time in the game's history, the mascot for the Tokyo 2020 Games was selected by a vote of all Japanese elementary school students. So in a similar manner, this Deaflympic emblem was selected by a vote of junior and high school students in Tokyo. The design here on the left side represents a hand and expresses the new future will blossom when mutual interaction and communities are connected like a circle. So through these initiatives, we'll create a new landscape where people are connected and shine. And next is my last part of presentation. Okay, so it's about our efforts of having more international sporting events in Tokyo. So Tokyo Metropolitan Government is supporting the sports federations to attract and host more international sporting events in Tokyo. And we have created key visuals to communicate the charms of Tokyo to sports families and people around the world. And this visual represents the athlete-centered concept that welcomes fans and athletes to the city as a whole and the sporting facilities. Tokyo Metropolitan Government owns 18 sport facilities, including 6 new permanent venues constructed for the Games. And these venues will continue to host international sporting events and provides places for Tokyo residents to play, watch, and support the sports. These facilities are also used for leisure experiences with family and friends, and as unique venues for filming locations and music concerts, giving Tokyo new attractions. Ahead of the Tokyo 2020 Games, we implemented projects for children to learn about other countries. As the recently held international competitions, we have also organized school spectator programs, providing children with opportunities to learn the value of sports through interaction with overseas athletes. More than 80,000 volunteers supported the Games on the ground, and after the Games, many of them wish to continue their volunteer activities and are active in various fields, including sports, of course, and the Tokyo Legacy Exhibition, Tokyo 2020 Legacy Exhibition. And Tokyo is a vibrant city where ancient traditions and cutting-edge culture live together and a variety of cultures are born. The city is full of diverse attractions such as sushi, anime, fashion, or stylish high-rises. So we hope that many people will experience these charms of Tokyo, and our connections with people around the world will be strengthened through sports and through international sporting events. And due to the COVID-19, the Games were postponed by another year, and we had to endure many challenges. Still, important legacies were generated, and we will pass on these legacies to the next generations. And I would like to thank all who supported the Tokyo 2020 Games in spite of the challenges, unprecedented challenges. So we'll continue to work on the legacy initiatives and realize an inclusive society through sports and international sporting events. Thank you very much. That's all my presentation.
Thanks a lot, Akiko. Because we are running after the time, sorry, I won't let you ask some question, but I have one or two for Akiko, Amadou, and Erin. I think the first one will be that all these programs, they are built around how we engage youth, but how we open their mind and how we put them playing sports, because you need to discover, you need to play sports first to enjoy and then to do it every day. I think some of you heard about the 30 minutes daily physical activity that we put in school with the French government. And I think we all have this kind of idea by just give an opportunity to the youngest to discover sports, to get access to sports. So my first question, Erin, for you will be how you manage, because you need a lot of money for sure, but you need a lot of partner in the city, maybe in the education area, with some partners. So how you manage to connect everyone to build this program for the kids?
Well, thank you. It's a good question. I think what we see this program as is a seed, right, that is kind of starting to grow in scale. So when we first kicked off the program, it was with just swim. So learn to swim classes, completely free for all kids throughout the city of Los Angeles. We have 63 pools that are active during the summertime, public pools. And so we were able to go from the first summer, where that was offered for free. We had about 18,000 enrollees. In the second summer, we got to 36,000. So we knew just by continuing to provide the participation fees and the costs and the availability of the programming to people throughout the city of Los Angeles that you would be able to get the kids there, learn to swim. Right. So from there, what we see is happening with this program is not only, as I mentioned, you have the core offerings of sports and fitness classes that you would expect through any Department of Recreation and Parks. We're then able to add this Paralympic or the adaptive sports, right, for the Paralympic component, right, to be able to build capacity. And that is a complete partnership with adaptive sports organizations throughout the Southern California region. People who have expertise in the various forms of coaching and bringing both families that didn't necessarily know that their children could participate in sport, actively recruiting folks to be able to come and know that this capacity exists within the city, and bringing them in through clinics and then bringing them in through more regular competition. So that becomes like a multi-step process, working with the organizations who are actively operating in some of the specific communities that are our target for the program. And then likewise, adding new sports capacities, right? So adding things from the Olympic and Paralympic sport program overall to include things like judo and golf, right? Which in the city of Los Angeles, golf means you also need transportation, right? You also need equipment. So how are we building equipment libraries? How are we building transportation capacity into how we're thinking about these sport offerings in our parks and our rec centers? So it becomes like a kind of stair-step process where working with community partners to build in and kind of create that ecosystem for youth sport, we're going to continue to see more and more kids have access to play. I spent alongside working on the Olympic and Paralympic development efforts in the city of Los Angeles for the last 6 years. I was also working on the Sustainable Development Goals. And for folks who are familiar with the UN Agenda 2030, you know that the key mantra is leave no one behind. And I think we've tried to really bring that leave no one behind mentality into how we're thinking about our preparation for the Games. So it's not just kind of folks who can easily access, but how do we ensure that everybody has the opportunity to be a part of this?
Thank you very much, Erin. Going to Amadou, it's maybe a little different way to engage. You show us the skate park in the middle of I would say, a mixed area. How do you give access to the kids living there, and how the link is created just because of this skate park? Can you explain that?
Well, I think the most important thing is sometimes in French we say, if you do something for me without me, you do it against me. And the problem is sometimes the sport policy or cultural policy, they want to design some nice project for the youth, but the youth, they are not on the heart of the process. And this is what we do with the City Hall of Dakar. We ask the youth, what do you want? And the youth, sometimes they get more information than the people working at the City Hall. They know what's going on in LA, what's going on in Tokyo, what's going on in France. And when they want to have nice infrastructure, they say, we want to do this. I can give you one example. We start this project before Dakar became candidate to 2026. We never know if we're going to be candidate. We never know if we're going to win the 2026. But this means the youth, they have vision. But sometimes the sport or cultural policy, they don't follow them. And sometimes they build to the infrastructure and nobody use it. But me, I'm very happy today with the support of the city of Dakar. A lot of young people are very, very engaged on the skate park due to two factors. One is the accessibility. As I show you on the video, on the map, is on the highway. It means 3 different territories they come and join us. They don't need to take car, they can walk. It's very close. And the other aspect is very, very important because it's free. We have a private skate park and people, they don't have money to pay. But if you came to the public skate park, it's very important. And it's not only a public skate park. If you see the name, it's Place des Quêtes Urbaines. The plural is very important because for us, the vision behind is just to have one space, but a lot of activities can organize it differently, like a concert, like you can chill with your family, you can bring your baby, doing milk, you can do a scratch with a DJ, you can go to the restaurant, you can have free internet, and you can skating and breaking. For us, it's the urban hub. It's more a skate park. And I think now the challenge, the real challenge that we have is about the safety. Because if you want to bring, for example, some ladies about skating, it's fine in Dakar, but in some one time it can be difficult. So I think with the City Hall of Dakar, this is the biggest challenge that we have. But bringing the youth on this place is very nice. And we have a problem to close this place because everybody love it. It's very new. You see the design. It's not with the brick. It's totally different about the architecture. And the people, they think Dakar, we cannot compare it to Los Angeles or to Tokyo. We are in a different perspective. But I guess the people, they really embrace the project.
Thanks a lot, Amadou. What we can see is how bringing everybody, all the community, not only the youth, but the mother, the father, the family, all around a place to practice sports, to discover a new sport. Going from the little one to the less little one, the volunteers on Tokyo 2020, how they were trained, and how, with all the sports even arriving next year, what is the project, I will say, with these volunteers, how you continue to train them, and how they learn to be ready to welcome again the world?
Thank you. It's dated back to 2015. So when city and the organizing committee launched the volunteer forum, so that's the beginning of our collaboration between the organizing committee and the city. So we launched the volunteers together, the planning, the education, the training, recruitment. So the cross communications between the city and the organizing committee was one of the successful factors of the volunteers. And after the games, these volunteers are very passionate to continue their volunteer activities. And right after the games, in November 2021, so 2 months after the games, we launched the Tokyo Legacy Volunteer Network. That's a platform through which people can get information on volunteer activities and interact between volunteers to get information. And we are working together with the Tokyo branch of National Federations as well in the area of volunteers. And one interesting story we heard from this National Federation was after doing the volunteer activities, these volunteers are interested in sports. So even if these volunteers had no experiences or had no interest before to join in the volunteer activities, after they did their volunteer activities, they are very much interested in this sport. So now it is their sport, and they want to start feeling that we want to do this sport. So through the volunteer activities, we are able to increase the population of sports. So that was an interesting finding for us.
Thanks a lot, Akiko. Thanks to all of you. I think that one thing which is important is with the games, the youth games, the Olympic and Paralympic games, the contract with the IOC, the IPC, to make the link between the city, the organizing committee. It puts everybody around the table, and even if it's hard sometimes, it's an everyday job to have daily success to launch the program and to continue the program. I think we can see that the legacy is on for all of you, and I hope that the games in our city will really profit to the citizen and to the youth firstly. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Emmeline. And unfortunately, every good thing has an end, and it is now. So on behalf of the organization, the World Union of Olympic Cities, and the entire team that have been building this thing together, I would like, and we would like to thank you so much for your participation. You infused so much energy into those debates, talks, and roundtables that it was really amazing, and that we are sure that the energy is going on far after this summit. But no worries, because it's not completely over. It's never completely over. The team is already working for the next edition, and as you know, it's going to be per tradition into the Olympic capital in Lausanne, and we thank Mr. Mayor Junot for his hospitality next year. So save the dates. You have to write it down on your agenda right now. It's from 11 to 13 November of 2024.